Sending love from Birmingham, UK. We're in the Torah portion Vayechi. So my chapter in the book is called Take Your Broken Heart, Turn It Into Art, which is a Carrie Fisher quote. We read about Joseph, and his brothers again. We're continuing with this. And no matter how much Yosef showing that he's not holding on to the things that his brothers did, threw him into a pit, sold him as a slave, he ended up in prison. And then of course, the redemptive part of his story did come and he saved the world from famine. He was second in command to Pharaoh. But no matter how much love he showed and that he wasn't holding on to any of this, the brothers still maintained that he was going to exact revenge at one point, even after all this time. So eventually, when their father passed, they sent this message to Yosef saying that their father had instructed that he has to forgive them, not realizing that he wasn't holding on to anything. And the fifth of the 13 attributes of faith is that he, Hashem, does not maintain anger forever. But it's also for us, we're not supposed to maintain our anger or whatever we're holding on to. And it reminds me of this story. One of my friends, I used to have him over when I was married all the time. My ex-wife's an incredible cook, and he was single, and I didn't want him to ever have a Shabbat meal alone. So I'd always invite him over. And when I got a divorce, I never really felt those invitations coming to me. He wasn't really inviting me, and I never felt that reciprocated. Not that that was why I was inviting him at all, of course, because I wouldn't have known that there would be a situation that was almost a reverse. But, I was kind of holding on to that. And, you want people to invite you. You want to feel festive and in community on Shabbat. I remember we had worked together. I never thought anything of it, but fast forward, we meet at Trader Joe's, and for a second I was like, should I stop? I need to pick stuff up. I'm running anyway. And I ended up stopping and talking to him. He shared with me that he's so sorry for when we worked together. He felt like he wronged me and he did something when we were working on something in a professional sense. He was talking about it with his therapist. I couldn't believe this. I was not holding on to this at all. I kind of remembered working together, but it wasn't something I was holding on to. And I was so happy that he shared this with me because I was able to say, I'm not even thinking about that. I've completely forgiven you. So I was able to sort of unburden him of this thing that he was holding on to. And then I was actually able to unburden myself with whatever thoughts are in my head, because I realized he's not inviting me because he feels bad and he thinks that I'm holding on to something, right? So Yosef with his brothers, they're holding on to this thing that he's not even holding on to. He had all of the opportunities to exact his revenge. He's at the top. He could have done anything he wanted, but he only showed them constant love. And there's this famous pasuk, when you see the donkey of your enemy stumbling, you need to go and help unload that donkey, right? So this isn't something that we're going to see a lot anymore, but the idea of it is that even if it's your enemy, you go and help. The unloading is actually really unloading what's in your heart and what's in their heart, unburdening yourself and them, because they're your enemy for a reason, right? So you're holding on to something, they're holding on to something. So this unloading is of the donkey, but that's just a mashal. We're unloading what's in our heart. So really, when we lead with love, then we're able to come back into this space, Yaakov representing this Tiferet, and the brothers and Yosef being a manifestation of this space of harmony and Tiferet, and of Shalom, which is bringing these opposites, or this person who has an enemy and then the other enemy, and they're coming together. Oseh Shalom. How do we create Shalom? When we say that, we're taking 3 steps back. That's how we create peace. It's by moving backward and then coming back together. When each person has taken a step back, then they can come together in peace because they're starting to understand each other and they're unloading that and leaving space for the other person and what's in their heart and to unload that. So my blessing is that we can continue to do that for ourselves and for each other. Lead with love. Always unload this burden that is sitting on yourself heavily, but also on the other person, because it's going to ease all of the tensions and all the constriction and all the things that are going on for yourselves and others. And we can move from this constricted consciousness to the redemptive consciousness, which is Israel, which is this space, the promised land, which Yaakov represents, moving up toward this promised land, moving from the Ekev, Yaakov, to Israel, the redemptive state. Much love. Shabbat Shalom.